Good morning. Hello. Here we go. Chapter 60, Heliane is speaking. We're on page 278. We are in no danger so long as everything goes to plan. Correction. The danger is minimized if everything goes to plan. The problem is, however, that I do not have one. A plan, that is. We, Philip and I, appear to be making a habit of leaving planet suddenly with no clear idea of what will happen next. Philip? Broadsword, calling Danny boy. Are you receiving me? I speak to Philip in my own language so as not to alarm my human passengers. They are looking out at the craft, mesmerized by the glowing planet gliding beneath us. Where will we land, Philip? There is nowhere completely safe, Heliane. My re-entry parameters are set to land exactly where we took off. This carries an obvious risk of detection. On the other hand, it is exactly what one would not be expecting. That sounds promising, I say. It does. Only one snag. The assistant advisors will be expecting me to do what is not expected. So we should not do that then. On the contrary, that is exactly what we should do. The AAs will have anticipated that a bot such as I will be able to predict their expectations, and so we should not do the very opposite of what they expect us not to do, which amounts to not doing what they expect. Wait, I say. Can you say that again? No, we need to go now. The Earth girl you are seeking is due for presentation at Earth Zone today. I take a deep breath. Very well, Philip, proceed. Here is what we will do then. Number 1, Philip and I will land with our earthly cargo, plus a chicken, which I had not expected. We will land where we took off 3 days ago. Philip's 7 systems are rather basic, by our standards, and we can only hope that our re-entry will not be noticed. If it is, we may be intercepted, and that could get very awkward. Number 2, if Philip and I have timed this right, and so far I think we have, the Earth boys and I will proceed immediately to Earth Zone. Number 3, we will then save Tammy and fly her back to Earth. Number 4, I am a little unclear how we will actually carry out that last part. Chapter 61, Ethan now. We are high above the grey-brown earth. Heliane finishes talking with Philip and says, "We are ready to land. We shall be making a rapid vertical descent straight down to our landing target. Such a descent increases the risk of collision with other airborne vehicles, but decreases the risk of detection. Hold tight. Philip, go." "Hang on to your hollyhocks, folks," says Philip, "but do not be alarmed. I usually get this right." "Usually?" I say, but then I realize he is joking, and besides, all the breath is sucked out of me as we start to fall. I glance over at Iggy, who is gripping Susie tighter than is probably good for her, and it's only when she squeaks a little in protest that he relaxes and returns my terrified look. We are descending faster than we would fall, lower and lower, with the whine of the craft's power getting higher and higher. My ears are popping like mad with the change in pressure. Outside the screen, the land is getting closer. I can make out a coastline and water, then some squarish flat things that might be buildings, and dark shapes travelling fast in the sky. While it looks as though there is no way we will stop in time, I think I just give up, resigning myself to whatever will happen. I certainly don't think I'll survive, and for a few seconds I think, well, this is an odd way to die. And then it's dark, and I'm being pulled upwards from my seat with the force of Philip slowing down the craft. We have stopped. I am still strapped into my seat, alive and panting hard. Heliane says something to Philip, and they have a brief, rapid exchange of words. Even though I can't understand it, I can pick up on the tension in her voice. "What's happening?" I say. "Is everything okay?" "No," she replies. "Everything is definitely not okay." Chapter 62. "Come quickly," says Heliane after a moment, ushering us out of the open side with her hand. "Philip has intercepted signals from the hunters. They are on their way." Hunters, I think. But Heliane is beckoning us urgently. Iggy goes first, but I'm still struggling with a strap which has got tangled with something behind me. Susie is cowering beneath my seat. Through the front screen, I can see Heliane and Iggy move stealthily across the floor of the large cavern lit with huge candles. "Wait!" I call. Then Heliane stops, and she turns back, her eyes wide with alarm, and she shouts something as 2 hairy creatures, a bit like her but bigger, step out of the shadows. "Philip," I say, "I'm stuck." I have not finished speaking when the side door slides shut, and Philip says, "Be quiet." I can hear that the group outside the spaceship are talking in animated, loud voices, but of course I cannot understand what they are saying. Then, to my horror, the 2 hairy creatures who are in the shadows step forward. One of them is holding a black stick with which they touch both Heliane and Iggy. My friends instantly buckle at the knees and are supported by their attackers to stop them falling to the ground. One of the creatures looks familiar. It has a dark streak of hair running from the centre of its head. I think back to the Australian webpage I looked at. The creature matches the drawing exactly, and a chill of fear grips my throat. From behind the spacecraft, another creature comes, pushing a kind of trolley, a bit like the ones you get in hospitals, only it's a double-decker. They pick up Hellianne and lay her on the bottom section, with Iggy laid out on the top. "Philip," I hiss. "What is going on?" In reply, Philip murmurs, "I miscalculated. The risk was obviously greater than I anticipated. They have been waiting for us to return, and all I can do is watch in terror. Hellianne and Iggy on the trolley are pushed by the other hairy creatures from the large cavern, down a long corridor and out of sight. Only then do I finally struggle free from the strap that has been restricting me, and which, I realise, has saved me from the same fate. If I had stepped out at the same time as Iggy did, then I too surely would now be on a trolley, unconscious. I leap to my feet, bewildered, panicking. "Philip! Philip!" I whisper, struggling to keep my voice steady. "What? Where? What's going on?" "This is bad, Ethan. There is no other way of saying it." His voice is low and grave. "I gathered that. What's happened? Did you understand?" "Yes, I understood perfectly. The good news, as far as you are concerned, is that you are safe. I don't think anyone knows you are here." My breathing is shallow, and I feel light-headed with anxiety. I don't feel that this is good news. "Just tell me what has happened, Philip, please." "It would appear, Ethan, that the mission to return your sister has somewhat misfired. The other conspirators, the so-called Harters, have been arrested and short-sleeved. A Harter, called Callan, has betrayed Hellianne, and Iggy has been captured, presumably to be taken to Earth Zone. That, at any rate, is how I understood the conversation that took place." I slump down on the bench seat and try to take all of this in. Is that how Tammy was captured? Made to collapse like that?" "That is probable, Ethan. That large assistant advisor with a dark stripe of hair, she's a hunter, and vicious with it." "But they don't know I'm here," I say, seeking reassurance. "No, Ethan. They were expecting Hellianne on her own. So when she emerged with Iggy, that will have startled them. I promptly shut the door so that they would not see you." "Just give me a moment, Philip," I say. I take some deeper breaths. Those breaths turn ragged, and I slide off the bench onto the floor. I stay there for a long time with my eyes clammed shut with exhaustion and tears that will not come. Finally, I open my eyes and wipe my nose on my sleeve, and I realise with a lead-heavy heart that I am still in the spaceship, a gazillion miles from home. I am exhausted, truly empty of all energy and all emotion, especially hope. I can barely summon the strength to say, "Philip?" "Yes, Ethan?" I pause. This is hard to say. "Can you take me home?" "Is that what you want?" This is even harder. I think of Iggy, stuck here on this alien planet. My sister, too. I will never see them again. But what can I do? I'm one boy. I can't take on a whole alien civilization. I close my eyes and take a breath. "Yes," I say. "Very well, Ethan. Strap yourself in." Chapter 63. "Come on, don't judge me. I have no choice. I am alone here. I cannot stay. I think of Mum and Dad and what I will tell them. I got close, really I did. At least we know Tammy is alive. I did my best. I think of Gran. The last time I saw her, she was running through a snowy forest, pursued by a man with a shotgun. Sorry, Gran. Thank you for helping. I did my best. What can I tell Iggy's mum? I try that one in my head. Sorry, Mrs. Fox Templeton, but Iggy is now in a zoo at the other end of the universe, along with my sister Tammy. I did my best. It doesn't feel good. I pull the straps around my waist and shoulders in readiness for takeoff. I feel the engines, if that's what they are, starting up. Philip has not said anything. I think he understands. And then the vibration stops and Philip says very softly, "Stay still, Ethan, and keep quiet." Through the screen at the front of the cockpit, I see that one of the creatures from before has returned. It's the one with the streak of darker hair, and her teeth are bared in an ugly grimace. She strides forward toward the craft and then stops with her hands on her broad hips. She raises her long nose in the air and starts to sniff. Her eyes dart to one side and then the other. Then her nose twitches again. She's sniffing for me. I just know it. She crouches down where the group was standing before and smells the floor, moving in a wide circle before standing up again and walking towards the spaceship. She walks past the screen so that I cannot see her anymore, but if I strain, I can just hear her by the door. I'm so scared, I don't think I'm even breathing. When I feel something brush the back of my leg, I think my yelp of fright gets as far as my throat before I stifle it. It's Susie, who I had forgotten all about, and I gather her into my arms. The sniffing creature is back in my vision now, in front of the windscreen, walking all round the spacecraft. Suddenly she growls something, then repeats it twice, finally aiming a frustrated kick at the craft and stalking off in the direction she came from. Philip? Shush. I wait in silence for several minutes. Finally, Philip murmurs, She's gone, Ethan, but she'll be back. How do you know? Because she told me she was not coming back. And as we know, Anthalans are very poor liars. She knows there is something inside here, and they know what humans smell like, so she'll be coming back with others and something to force open my doors. And then? Well, what do you think? One more original for Earthzone, plus a chicken. I look at Susie, and something comes back to me. Something has been knocking around in my head like a cat in a sack. I did my best. That was what I said to Tammy the night she disappeared. You always say that, Tammy retorted, getting red in the face with anger. But you never do you? You do what looks like your best. You do what people think is your best. You do just enough so that when you say, but I did my best, people will believe you and go, oh, poor Ethan. He did his best. But you know what, Ethan? I know what your best is. I'm your twin, remember? I'm the other half of you. How can I not know? And you haven't done your best. Nothing like it. So don't lie. Beneath my feet on the floor, I sense Philip's vibrations starting again, and as the vibrations travel through my body, I feel something change in me. I think about living the rest of my life without my twin, my other half. I think about telling Cora Fox Templeton that her son has been captured for exhibition in a zoo, while I stayed hidden. I think about my mum and my dad, and poor Gran, and the whole of our village that will forever be associated in people's minds with something sad. The vibrations are getting stronger and stronger, and I am shaking. And then I realize that it isn't the vibrations, it is me. I'm actually trembling. I look at my hands and they are shaking. My jaw is shivering and my teeth are chattering. And it's all with nerves, because I am terrified. Terrified about what I am going to do, what I have to do. Philip, stop! I cry out. Gee, you sound distressed, Ethan. What is it? I swallow hard and say, we're not going home. Not back to Earth. Not back to Earth, Ethan? Why not, kid? I take a deep breath. All of the trembling has stopped, and I stand up. Susie tips her head on one side, and I say this as much to her as to Philip, because I haven't done my best yet. And we'll leave it there for today. I'm sure you will all do your best today. See you tomorrow.